Welcome to the Die Again podcast, a tabletop role-playing game podcast. Your Game Master Josiah, and with me as always is the player,
William.
And last we left our intrepid adventurer, he drank and ate and went to sleep.
That first day was incredibly rough.
Yeah, he's taking some me time.
Yeah.
So, just as a refresher, both for you and for the listener, your task here essentially is to keep the town more or less calm while things get fixed. You can involve yourself in the fixing if you want to. You're not required to. You don't have any particular skills in that area. But if you just want to oversee things, that's an option. You can think of yourself as being in the position of sort of like a circuit judge here. Technically, you don't have an official legal status, but more or less, you can act as though you do.
Okay.
So if someone really wanted to push things, they could demand an audience with either the king or a nearby noble to dispute a decision that you make. But most likely, unless you rule something very egregious, they'll just go along with it.
And not that I'm planning on doing anything to piss them off, but how far away is the kingdom?
The king, it would probably take, I'd say, a week at least of walking, but most likely they'd go for the nearest noble, which is just 2 days out.
And that's by walking?
Yeah, very few people have traveling horses.
Okay. So if I'm supposed to be essentially just rotating, how long am I supposed to stay here?
You don't have to rotate. You are on assignment, essentially. I just use circuit judge as like a comparison. You don't normally stay here, but while you're here, you can do these things.
Okay.
So you are here until the thing is fixed, or until something happens to make it unfixable, in which case you would go and report that, and if there's someone responsible for it, you would take them in.
Okay. So we've officially woken up then?
Yes, so you are awake. You probably are used to waking up around when the sun starts to break. It's early.
Okay. I'm thinking me and Palmer will probably go back to the bar, have breakfast if they do that.
I'd say, since you paid for a room, you can probably get breakfast. Lunch, you'll probably have to go handle on your own, but you can get breakfast and dinner here as long as you're paying.
Am I paying on a daily basis, or is it already covered until, or it won't be billed until everything's over, or how does that work?
I assume you're paying on a daily basis. I don't think you negotiate for anything else. That makes the most sense.
Okay. So then me and Palmer are going to get up then and go get whatever it is that they serve in the morning.
All right, you head down, you get your eggs and grits, fill up on that. Do you go for water or beer in the morning?
I think my guy would do water.
Okay, I think Palmer's going to just match whatever you're doing. That's the polite thing to do. So you eat, have your water. Do you try and eat fast, or are you just kind of taking your time? You don't have anything scheduled, so.
I think take time.
Okay, what is on your docket that you've made up for yourself?
Well, first I want to ask Palmer how his wounds are feeling.
Oh, they're a sight better than yesterday, I suppose. Still hurts.
I guess that's what happens when a bandage is appropriately applied.
Never let him get your medic. That's what we always said. I did not give a name. You can ask, obviously. I'm sure the mill is pretty important to the town, so probably everyone knows who the miller is. Alright. Are we splitting up, or are we moving as a unit?
For now, let's stick together. Just that way we're both getting the same information at the same time.
Okay, so you guys eat. The tavern owner has moved out of the room. She's, you would assume, probably getting ready, tending the ale, that sort of stuff, because it has to be managed.
So she's really prepping for this upcoming night.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
That's the safe assumption.
Right.
So you are at liberty to go about this village. It's large enough. I think you would have seen yesterday that they're big enough. They have their own blacksmith. They don't have I forget what the name for it is, but nobody's running a stable here. but a lot of that's because this specific kingdom isn't really conducive to horses to begin with.
What specifically about it that's not great for horses?
It's just that they're not native, so you would have to bring them in and breed them and all of that sort of thing. If you have them, then they do fine, but because of that, really only wealthy people have them at the moment. There are mules that have started to propagate. So if a poor person has something, they have a donkey probably.
So then a donkey would be the most common way to help move items then, right?
Yeah, if someone's pulling a cart, it's either a donkey or some sort of steer, but most likely a donkey. Or it's just a hand cart,
Right.
which is the cheapest way.
Yeah.
You had entrusted the watch captain with the news of the dead travelers that you found, so there's that. And it's pretty easy if you want to just visibly go straight for the mill. It's kind of a landmark because it's right on the river for obvious reasons.
So let's see how much more progress there needs to be for this mill to be repaired.
Okay, so you're heading straight for the mill. As you're going along, since you ate slow, I'd say the town's more or less awake. People are moving around, doing things visibly. Make your perception and luck checks. So your luck check for the session, then just a perception check to see what your take on the town is as you move through it.
Okay. So first with our luck, I have a fair, -2 terrible, so that puts me at luck is fair, got a terrible, so that puts me at poor.
Sounds about right for you. And your perception?
That I got a good, and my perception starts out at good, so that should put me at superb.
Okay, with a superb, why don't you give me an empathy check to go along with it? See what kind of read you get on the people as you're walking by.
Okay. Empathy is fair. Got -3, so I think that just swings it into way the negative. That's nice. So empathy is fair. I rolled a -3, which is horrible. So that puts me at terrible.
Literally a terrible roll. So looking around, you're picking up on a lot of things. You're seeing that, like, people are just kind of staying around and talking. They're not doing as much as you be used to for this time of year. With your empathy, you think, wow, everyone must be taking a day off. Good for them. You notice, but you have no empathetic reason for why your squire moves his belt knife to a slightly easier reach.
Well, ignorance is bliss, so here I am thinking everything is hunky dory.
I love this moron. He's great.
And then the squire being clearly not, but not
Yeah.
promoted.
I love moron in charge, highly skilled person in the assistant position. You go up to the mill. Do you want to start by going around it before talking to anyone, or do you just want to go inside? Do you want to go around, try and look at everything?
Well, my character isn't like you said earlier. My character is not a builder. He's not a part of putting it together. But I think he'd like to at least look at it, with a uneducated point of view on how things look.
I don't know anything about building, but I think if I take a look at it, I could probably fix this better than.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So you circle around it. Obviously you kind of loop backwards when you hit the river, but you go around, make perception and reasoning checks.
All right. So my perception is fair. Let's see what I roll. Mediocre, so fair.
Okay.
And what was the second one?
Reasoning. It'd be really funny if you get a high reason. You're like, I've seen so many watermills.
Reasoning is poor, so I either get something good or it's just not going to be. Hey, first time ever, a +4, so that's great. So that puts me up to a great.
Okay, so you're like, fuck yeah, I've seen so many watermills.
As a kid, I used to want to be involved.
Yeah. Looking at this from the outside, you're going, this seems like a perfectly functional watermill. I don't see what the problem is, but it is not turning. So on the outside, everything seems up to snuff. You do take note that there is, on the side opposite from the way you came, there is a cellar door on the outside, so that's not unusual. It's just something that you notice.
When you say a cellar, you mean like a storage unit area?
A cellar, like, underground.
Okay.
So, like, on the ground facing up, there's doors that you would pull open.
Okay.
Presumably there's a ladder going down or something similar.
So, definitely with having a really great roll to see the outside, now I'm really curious what could be going on inside that's making it not function.
And since you got that reason roll, I'll let that sort of ride for all of your reasoning about the working of the watermill. So,
Okay, so we know that the outside of it looks good. We know that there's that storage unit or whatever it is that's close by that I can see the doors to. And is there any workers outside immediately?
you could hear people talking from inside. So,
Okay. And I think then I'm going to go ahead and go inside.
all right. What's your posture, basically, as you go into this? Are you going for like a, I'm from the government and I'm here to help? Or are you going for a, this is your inspection?
I think the way how he seems to be is basically the I'm from the government, I'm here to help. But more along the lines of like, hey, I'm just checking this out because this is what I'm here for specifically. So definitely not inspection level anything other than apparently I really know mills.
Yeah. I feel like your guy is on that level of like, I love trains, but it's I love watermills.
What's really funny is this implies that, maybe he could have picked what mission he was going to be on and he saw that a mill was involved and he was like, that's for me.
He's like, I could be earning accolades out by doing these other missions, but look at this. Like, they were just
Yeah.
going to send some regular soldiers out to keep the peace, but I said no. This is my mission. It was made for me. All right, so you walk in. You can see two men. One has what you would assume are craftsman's tools, sort of hanging off various belts. So he has like a, I'm sure there's a different word for it, but like a chest belt going from shoulder to waist, and then another one around his waist, just with the various tools. And he's talking to another man who has no tools. The other man is younger, the one that has no tools, and he's, I don't care if it looks good. It's obviously not good. It's not working. I'm not paying you to tell me that everything looks good. And the other guy's got his thumbs in his belt, and he's very slow talking. That's what you walk in on.
All right. So I approach them and go and say, hi, my name's Norman. I'm the knight that was sent to guard the building of this.
I'd like you to make an empathy check, like right away.
All right. So my empathy is fair. -1. So that puts me at mediocre.
But even with a mediocre roll, you can see that just before you say what your purpose is, the who you would have to assume is the miller looks at you with the level of disdain that you have only seen on particularly arrogant noblemen before. Then you say your purpose, and he very quickly shifts into a "this person is more powerful than me" expression.
So Miller is the younger noble guy.
Yeah, Miller is the younger guy with the arrogant expression. You would have to assume he's not a nobleman because no nobleman is going to be operating a mill unless he's just extremely unlucky for some reason, but just that level of arrogance, that's what you would associate it with. He says, "Oh, good then, you can keep the rabble from bothering me as I get this up and running again. Nothing can get in the way."
You know what? I'm something of a mill aficionado myself. What's been going on with the mill? I'm actually very curious in this subject.
A couple of weeks after I inherited it from my late father, it's just stopped working, and they say it's impossible, but I swear it's been turning backwards in the middle of the night. I just have no idea. This incompetent claims nothing is wrong, but obviously something must be wrong. It's not turning. And he sort of gestures at the craftsman, who looks entirely unbothered by the young man's assessment.
All right, so I'm going to turn to him and say, nice to meet you. I'm Norman, and who
Well,
are you?
my name is Walt. Pleasure to meet you.
All right, well, it's nice to meet you. I'm not here to help fix this by any means. I just have a curiosity of all this. But my main job is here to make sure that nothing happens to you boys while you're working on this.
Well, that's appreciated. Folks are a bit antsy. Haven't gotten their harvest ground up.
Oh, that's right, because the mill would be responsible for turning the grinding equipment. Before I got assigned to you guys, was there an attack?
Well, there hasn't been anything yet, but there's been some talking. And, I hear last night the folks that tried to head out of town, they didn't even take their stuff for grinding, but, they're the ones that didn't make it. I reckon if everyone who has things to be ground starts heading out, that's a lot of easy pickings for some unscrupulous sorts.
So, not talking to him, but just talking with you. So then there would be a benefit to somebody sabotaging this because it would force, like you just said, people to go out traveling and potentially get robbed or whatever.
Yeah, in theory, a particularly intelligent bandit could sabotage the mill in the hopes of getting people to come out with their carts of grain. And then they probably wouldn't take the grain, but they would take whatever money the people had.
The people that we found on the road that were dead, that the bandits were going through their stuff, did they have grain?
No, they were, I can't remember what, it was either potatoes or apples, I can't remember exactly.
That's right. It was potatoes.
Yeah, I think it was potatoes. Yeah, that fits the climate.
So not quite related, but the similar thing would happen to the people with the grain.
Yeah, that's the basic idea. Most bandits probably wouldn't kill the travelers because that draws attention, but they could, obviously. But that's also the reason why someone like you would be sent. In case people start talking about that sort of exodus, you have the know-how to and the authority to arrange for someone to go through and clear the way.
Okay, so there's the option to help the people that are traveling.
Yeah. What you'd probably do in that case is send a runner with a missive to say, hey, we're about to have a bunch of these people traveling because this mill isn't working. Could you send a squad to, like, earlier than you normally would to go check that the roads are clear?
Okay. So, from the perspective of, I guess, the kingdom, what is my main priority here? To protect the people or to make sure the people working on the mill are safe and can get it operational?
Your priority is getting the mill operational. Mills are hard to build, they do a lot of work, whereas as far as the nobles are concerned, which is who you answer to, all of these people are replaceable. Especially farmers, everyone farms. Even if your job is not being a farmer, you farm. You keep some amount of things that you grow.
Okay. So, I'm going to look back at Miller. That's his name, right?
So, I don't believe he gave his name. I'll say he should have given his name. We'll say he did. It's Dalbert Miller.
Okay. So I look back at Dalbert and I say, I'm going to ask him to walk and we'll just look around the mill and I'm going to pick his brain.
Okay, I think he'll do that because he doesn't have any reason not to. He walks out with you. You guys are going around the mill. I assume you're like pointing at things and saying like, see, this seems as though it should be working here and here. And then we can lead into what you're specifically saying.
I think specifically I'd like to ask him if he knows of any enemies, I guess he would have, or potentially his father who used to own the mill would have.
So let's see. Make a charisma check and an empathy check.
All right. So my charisma to start is good, mediocre, so good. And what was the next roll?
Empathy.
All right. My empathy is fair. Got mediocre, so it stays at fair.
Okay. I don't think my father had any enemies. He set his prices ridiculously low for the amount of work that this mill gets done. But, ever since I took over and set far more reasonable prices, everyone's been very snippy with me.
And by reasonable, he means higher, but what he would consider worth it.
Yes. Rory, who runs the, let's be frank, failing wheat farm down the way, is probably the most upset. And then with your, what'd you say your empathy was?
It stayed at fair.
Okay. With fair, you just kind of get the sense that he sees everything as it's only important as it relates to him, and he's right about everything, and he's the greatest. It's very much that. He's
very full of himself.
Yeah, anything you get from him is filtered through a lens of pure egocentrism. That's all you get with a fair.
Okay. So Rory, he is...
So he gestured which direction the farm was. There's not too many in that specific direction, mostly because the terrain gets, well, I'd say, I don't even think you're reasonable. You can tell that the soil gets a little bit worse in that direction. Because he's gesturing to the east, and most of the better farms are to the north because they're along the river. And living in this culture, you would know, like, rivers flood, and that's useful for fertilizing the soil, that sort of thing. It has a lot of benefits. I don't think fertilizing the soil is the right one, but you get the idea. Whereas to the east, it's just not quite as good.
So how many farmers in total do you service with your mill?
Well, I would say there's about 10 families in this particular town that all come to me. And then, of course, we also service a town over. They bring their grain to us. That's in both directions, of course. He doesn't have a specific number for you. You can make a reasoning check to make an estimate based off you've probably been to both of those places before.
All right, so my reasoning is poor. I got a -2, so terrible. No idea.
That's a lot of farmers. Gosh.
It sounds like it's a lot of farmers. Okay, I know you're the best in the business, but who else runs their own mill service?
Let's see. I don't think you need to make another roll for that. It says, well, if you go a little further out, about 3 days in either direction, there are people running rather rudimentary operations, but I have the finest in this kingdom.
The most premium, the best grinding the world's ever seen.
I talk to other kingdoms, they say, our grinds just aren't the same. You're the best.
No one grinds like me. Okay. So before I leave Delbert Miller, I'm going to ask him, where would I normally find you? I mean, are you pretty much stuck with the mill until it's operational, or?
So he just gestures. There's a house not very far from the mill, but it's just far enough that he does have his own small garden plot, that sort of thing, attached to it. Of course, I live right by, so you're free to stop in.
And before I leave you, because I know you're a very busy man, you know, you're the essential part of this entire operation. How often do you see what you experienced as the mill going backwards?
I can't say I've ever seen it. Make another empathy check.
Wait, but didn't he say that he saw it going backwards?
No, he's saying I haven't ever seen it before. It's like this instance is the first time. Or are you saying like the amount of times he's seen it since this started happening? Because I took it to mean like in general.
I meant it as in, since it started happening, how often have you been noticing it?
Okay, so still make an empathy check, but it says, the few nights I've come out to look at it, it's done that since it stopped. I'd say that's 3 or 4 nights.
Okay, so my empathy is at fair. I got a -1, so yeah, puts me at mediocre.
Okay, so as far as you can tell, he's being truthful. You're not picking up on anything. The sun gets in your eyes as he's saying it, so you don't get a good look at his face.
That was really cinematic.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to be on my way, and I promise you, Miller, that I will do my best to make sure that your boys can get your mill back up and running.
Good man. And where are you headed from here?
Well, we never discussed what Palmer was doing, so I assume he's probably back inside with Walt.
Yeah, if you want to have been doing that, that's good.
I think I'll go back in there and see what they're up to.
So you're going to take a look at, just see how it's going. Do you want to make another perception check?
Now that we lost the greatest in the business, I'm going to talk shop with Walt. So what, perception?
Yeah, I assume you want to kind of look at the inner and see if you can notice anything.
All right, so my perception is fair, mediocre, so it stayed at fair. But I do have a great in mill knowledge.
Yeah. So as you're looking at it right now, it doesn't seem like anything obvious is wrong. I assume you're just going to go up and kind of talk to the guy, get him to like show you what he's been looking at.
Yeah.
So he walks you over, he just starts poking things and be like, you can see here, nothing wrong with this. Is not see anything sticking here. I can. He sort of like horses it, and it turns, but it doesn't keep turning.
If you don't mind me asking, Walt, how many years have you been servicing machines like this?
Well, my proper job is mostly with wagons, but it's not enough mills for someone to make that their whole job. But I've worked on this particular mill before. Boy's father was a good man. He hired me, and I've kept it running. Never seen anything like this before, though.
What do you make of Miller's claim that he's seen it go backwards?
Make charisma empathy.
All right, so charisma first. My charisma is good. +1. Okay, so great. And empathy?
Yep.
Okay, empathy is fair, mediocre, so it stays at fair.
You can tell he gets a little, not quite scared, but sort of the look you would associate with someone talking about like a superstition or something like this. The way I reckon it, it's got to be water fairies. What else could it be?
True. What else could it be?
I reckon they don't take too kindly to, and I say this in the nicest, kindest way possible, greedy folks.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I do have work to do. I have to do my due diligence and check every possibility. You have a good day now, sir.
Yep, we'll swing back around at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, he goes back to like tapping at things and seeing if anything shifts or if anything's sticky or anything like that.
All right, so I look over at Palmer and say, okay, let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. And you guys head out. Do you have a plan on where you want to head from here? I'd say it's approaching midday. It's not midday yet. You really haven't had to do that much.
I should have asked this earlier, but are we now officially geared up because we're here to protect things?
You never said you did, and when we talked before, I got the impression that you were planning on walking around just the knife because that's kind of the polite way to walk around. Because of your status, you are permitted to walk around in full arms and armor. But GM to player, that will make all of your charisma checks harder unless you're threatening someone.
So then, theoretically, if something were to happen, we were to get attacked or whatever, what would be the correct way to handle that? I have to run back to my room to get our gear? Or, like, what would be the correct way that people would handle this kind of thing?
So it varies entirely depending on what the attack is. If it's like, oh, this group of 3 guys, you can probably just handle that because you're unarmed, but so is everyone else. Is also only going to be carrying like a knife, maybe a pitchfork if they're really like planning on something. But none of these people are going to own spears.
So it's totally reasonable then, like you say, to just walk around like this even though I'm guarding.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Like I said, if you feel that things are actually at a point where they're heated up and people are actually going to do something, and then you want to start wearing something, that's reasonable. But right now, nobody's like sharpening their pitchfork or whatever that you've seen and noticed.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that my character wasn't supposed to be armored up like people would expect him to at this point. But if that's the case, then he'll just keep on doing what he's been doing.
And you'll note that Palmer didn't suggest it either. So that's
Okay.
just something to note. Palmer being someone who's much more of a battlefield guy than a keep the peace guy. So your experience with him would be that he is much more trigger ready than you are.
Okay. Well then, Palmer, I think it'd be worth it for us to talk with Rory, and unfortunately this kid that's taken over seems to be not fantastic, so I wonder if this might be an internal job. It might not be, but at the very least he's just not making friends.
Okay, so he nods to that, and you guys are going to head off in that direction.
Yeah.
All right, we will call it there, with you heading off to Rory's farm.
Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed the third episode of Season 6 of the Daigen Podcast. After discovering that Norman actually does know a lot about mills, Norman and Palmer are heading over to Rory's farm after learning about what is wrong with the mill and learning about Dilbert Miller. We at the Daigen Podcast love hearing your thoughts, so drop your comment wherever you're tuning in from. Also, don't forget to follow us on X, Threads, and Blue Skies. Just search for Daigen Podcast, all one word. See ya. Not yet.
You misplace the scale every time.
Well, no, because I know I have it on the one that
It's in general, isn't it? I need to just make a poster and put it on my wall so you can look at my wall
Right.
and see.